The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Welcome to the April 19th edition of One Nation Radio. What is going on, everyone? This is your host, Rich, and I am joined today by a special guest, Mr. Caleb Baldwin. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. You're talking to the bathtub, though, brother.
Yes.
Got that new chew on the network, brother.
Yes. Coming to us from Oklahoma, Mr. Caleb Baldwin, host of the Wrestling Wash podcast, coming soon to the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Speaking of the network, we all from the network, on behalf of everybody, we want to thank all you guys for downloading and listening and supporting the network. Everyone's shows are showing an uptick in numbers, and from a personal standpoint, show I put out last Sunday, solo show, definitely I missed James during it, but apparently you guys didn't, so according to James, he says they were just all waiting for him to go. So
oh shit.
Yeah, but thank you guys for all your downloads and support and all that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it is, man. We got that rub from Dave. Then all of a sudden our downloads are just going up. It's going through the roof.
It's crazy.
It's the Dave rub, I tell you, man.
Crazy, man. But first, before we get into anything about the Superstar Shakeup and all that, I just want to say rest in peace to Bruno Sammartino, who died yesterday, I believe at the age of 82. Long-time WWF World Champion, held the belt for 7 years, kind of put all this shit on the map back in the 60s and 70s. So rest in peace to him, and our condolences to his family. But we've got some shit to talk about today, man. WWE has shook this bitch up.
Ooh, shook it up, man. I tell you, it's Michael J. Fox's favorite week in the WWE year. Sorry. I'm awful, I know, but damn it, I had to.
Oh, man, I threw him the oop and he slammed it home.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, Caleb, you're going to be hosting the Wrestling Wash. That's going to be covering TNA, Impact, and Ring of Honor. Before we get going, just tell the folks about that a little bit.
Well, one thing I've noticed, and even when I was on SMC, and don't get me wrong, I love the show. There was a reason I left. There's no heat, any of that. But we have little to no Ring of Honor or Impact coverage on the network, and actually being given the opportunity to provide that, honestly, what I would call a need, since we are a wrestling network, being given the opportunity to provide that need is something I take very seriously. I'm actually going to record my first episode of the Wrestling Wash. I hope you enjoyed the pilot, by the way. I wanted to, make it a little more spicy than just a normal, oh, hey, this is what I'm doing. But anyway, pardon me. I'm going off on a tangent here. I'm going to record the first episode as a review to the Impact Redemption pay-per-view, which is taking place on Sunday, as some of you may know. And the main event is actually Austin Aries, Rey Fenix, and Pentagon Jr. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm not doing anything Sunday, so I might be convinced to watch that main event. So we'll see.
Yeah, I might see if my cable provider of Nefarious Means Cable has a feed that I can, purchase and that sort of thing.
But yeah, man, let's get it started. We had the Superstar Shakeup Monday and Tuesday, both involving Raw and SmackDown. Lots of guys moving back and forth. A couple big stars, not too many big stars, but they also, a lot of mid-carders, some low-carders, and we saw some call-ups from NXT. I guess we can start with Monday Night Raw. It basically
makes sense.
Yeah, like they came out here and they had a kind of a shakeup that was kind of weird. So let's just go through it and name the whole roster here. On the face,
I'm sorry. Before we get started, I can't believe, because there is a perception that this guy's a fucking star for some reason, even though like he draws negative gates, dude. The first name was Jinder Mahal. I'm not going to a show because Jinder Mahal is on the bill. Jesus Christ. I'm just saying. We're
going to get more into it, but I feel like I've heard that on some house shows, exactly what you think is going to be happening. So I'll get into it more later. But yes, as Caleb mentioned, Jinder Mahal was the first guy we saw, and my first thought was, thank God he's away from SmackDown. I don't have to watch any of the guys that I love come out here and have to be saddled with that albatross that is Jinder Mahal.
I thought the same thing, and then someone else switched later, and I was like, damn it, I still got to watch this guy.
So what they were left with on the face side, you've got, well, face in quotations to begin with.
Quote unquote.
Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Bobby Roode. And then it just goes off a cliff. There's No Way Jose, Chad Gable, Zack Ryder. Of course, Dean Ambrose is hurt, Jason Jordan is hurt, and the Big Show is not really around. On the heel end, you have part-time in Brock Lesnar. You have Baron Corbin, Jinder Mahal, Elias, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Mojo Rawley, Goldust, Kurt Hawkins, Sunil Singh, obviously there with Jinder. I'm sure Samir will be joining him when he returns from the ACL injury, and Mike Kanellis and Kane. Before we get to the tag teams and all that, what do you think about this solo roster of the Raw side? Because I'm nervous.
Well, it's so like, I have a bad feeling on, because I'm pretty sure Roman's going to win the belt in Saudi Arabia, and I have a really bad feeling that, again, to your theory of like they know how to get heels booed, they know how to get you to boo these main event heels. They're going to pair up the biggest trash bags they possibly can with Roman throughout the summer. I'm talking Baron Corbin to start. I'm talking Jinder Mahal. And I'm maybe talking Elias, but he's getting a little better, but whatever. I'm talking maybe Elias before SummerSlam, and then Lord only knows what they do at SummerSlam.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, as this whole thing was shaking out, like, I felt like I saw one Roman Reigns program coming after the other. Like, I didn't see any, like, real baby faces move over. Like, you got Bobby Roode, but, I mean, is he real, like, threat for, the top level on Monday Night Raw?
It's so funny you say that, because I could easily see him turn heel.
I think he needs to. Like him, I think
he's definitely a miscast as a babyface for sure.
I think there's three guys that can possibly like turn heel. Of course, without Roman, of course. That would be like Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, or Bobby Roode. Like one of those guys has to turn. Because as far as the wrestling goes on the main event heel side, it's just not up to par. And I wrote a column today that came out on lordsofpain.net. Basically, it was saying they're trying to dumb it down as much as possible and reset these alignments for these guys to get the baby faces cheered. What I think they're kind of missing the boat on is, in Roman Reigns' case, because obviously, this all kind of leads back to him. One of the things that Roman has going for him normally is his match quality. And what I feel like they're doing is taking a gamble and saying, fuck all that match quality. We just want this guy to be cheered. So we're going to, as Caleb said, line him up against these trash bags. Like, we're going to have Jinder Mahal leading matches with Roman Reigns. We're going to have Elias, and we're going to have Mojo Rawley. Like, and of course, we've already seen Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, like, a million times, done to death. We've never seen Sami Zayn in that position, so hopefully he gets a chance to mix it up with them. But the Raw side really makes me nervous on that end, because these guys, like, they're not good enough in the ring. and they don't really have a track record. They don't have I don't know, if you had to pick any of these guys, like, who would have, like, you know, the best upside at the top of the car, who would it be, Caleb?
Of the heels that they sent over? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like the heels, like, that you kind of, like, look at that roster and say, you know, remove Owens and Zayn from this. Like, and look at what's left.
removing the Canadian goats, but,
right.
Honestly, and this might come as a shock, maybe Mojo.
I'm with you. And I say that because I feel like Mojo Rawley is not completely unbelievable during his promos. Like, as much as Jinder Mahal's, like, kind of, like, gotten better as a talker, but, like, no one believes it when he says he travels in a limo and does all this other crap, right?
In a limousine. Yeah, I didn't believe you for a second there, sir.
Baron Corbin, he's never really on camera, like, came with that fire. Mojo Rawley has been, he's intense. He's not, he's a little rough around the edges, but I think I could take him more seriously than any of those other guys. You know, they protected Elias to a great degree thus far.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. Hopefully he's ready, because one of those guys is going to have to step up, and one of those dudes is going to be on top wrestling against whoever the top faces are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, man, I don't know if I'm ready for Roman Reigns and Mojo Rawley on a pay-per-view, sir.
Yeah, get ready. It's coming. Roman Reigns, Jinder Mahal is being advertised already on house shows, Caleb. I don't know if you knew this.
Holy shit. I did not know that. Yeah, that's awful.
So they're really going all in on that, like, fuck it. We don't care how good the match is. We don't care. No, just please cheer this guy. That's what they're doing right now. And
Maybe I should just save that $10 to put toward my car note at this rate. So
the Raw tag teams, we've got the Authors of Pain, obviously were called up after the night after WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre was their NXT male call-up, and he was linked with Dolph Ziggler, so it looks like, these two dudes with attitude part 2. As we finally found the Diesel to go with Shawn Michaels, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler, but I feel like he's definitely not Shawn, but he may be a better Diesel. So,
I don't know.
What did you think about McIntyre?
If these guys are better. I'm sorry. I don't know if these guys are better. Diesel and fuck, never mind. I messed up the joke. Just go ahead.
So McIntyre, what are your impressions on him from, like, what you saw in NXT and also outside of WWE? And
Jesus Christ,
and his potential on this prospect.
He is a much better heel. So in that regard, I'm very excited to see what he wants to bring us to the table. But overall, like, Drew McIntyre just in general has never really done it for me. Mm-hmm. So to pair him up with Ziggler, I find to be hilarious, because he hasn't really done it for me in a few years either. So it's kind of chuckle worthy in my opinion.
I think McIntyre is ultimately the end game for the top heel spot on Raw. Right now, he's being kind of put in the tag team, I like this phrase, to hide him in plain sight while they acclimate him to the main roster audience again. And then, like, if you look at the guy, like, he blows Baron Corbin out of the water, he blows Jinder Mahal out of the water, blows Elias out of the water, blows, like, possibly even Kevin Owens and Zayn out of the water, like, based on what WWE wants. Like, this guy's like, he's a great wrestler. Promos, we'll have to see, but he's going to get that chance, I feel like, to either be fighting whoever the champion is at SummerSlam or maybe even WrestleMania at this rate. I think I'm very excited about McIntyre's call-up. Like, I always saw him more as a WWE guy rather than being in NXT or even the Indies, like, where he was, like, good. Like, McIntyre's really good. Like, I like his shit. But
yeah, he always felt like more of a WWE guy, even in TNA.
Look, just fucking look at him, like.
yeah, he's fucking jacked, bro. I was actually at the SmackDown where Vince called him the Chosen One.
Right.
Yeah, I was there.
Long time ago, young Caleb.
Yes. 15-year-old Caleb, gonna put my age out there.
Yes. So yeah, I'm like looking at it. The rest of the faces, or the rest of the tag teams, you have the Authors of Pain, you have the Revival, who've been buried 60 feet deep under rubbish. You have Axel and Dallas, who are deserted and left on Raw by The Miz. You have Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil, Breezango, The Ascension, and Slater and Rhino. That division it needs help.
I think Frank Reynolds would say that division is trash.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a couple programs there, but it's going to get long in the tooth. I don't expect McIntyre to be a tag team guy for the long haul. I think he's definitely going to have a lot of room to grow, especially if Brock Lesnar ends up departing from WWE. So,
yeah. You could sell me on him and Rollins as a program at like a SummerSlam.
Yeah, what do you think? Right now, Seth Rollins is the Intercontinental Champion. Right now, Brock Lesnar looks like he's going to hand the belt back to Roman Reigns at any moment. What are you when you look at the face side? You have Lashley and Strowman just sitting there, right? And it's
pretty much.
What do you really kind of what would your idea be to kind of do with these guys? Because Strowman had all the juice in the world to begin with at the start of the year, and then it kind of got moved around, to eventually teaming with a 10-year-old child at WrestleMania. But following that, it's what the fuck happened?
It's so weird because it's like a Schrodinger's how protected is this guy? Because he loses the chamber to Roman. He's in a tag team match just out of nowhere at WrestleMania, but at the same time, he beats a dominant tag team basically on his own. He eliminates 5 guys from the Elimination Chamber, and he, honestly, in my opinion, he has probably been one of the most protected guys in the company in quite some time.
Right.
Basically,
but it's what are they doing with all this protection, though? Because it's not leading anywhere.
It's like if they did that with Austin, but they just never pulled the trigger.
We're gonna have you keep doing other stuff,
They almost get there every time, and they're no, we're good. We'll keep you here, sir.
Yeah.
But as far as Lashley and Strowman go, sign me up for those two facing each other. I would watch that. I would fucking watch that.
No, you're the Impact guy. I don't really know much about Bobby Lashley because I came back to watching wrestling in the middle of 2011.
So you missed his entire WWE run.
Yep. So what can I expect out of this guy?
Expect pure power. Don't expect anything great in mic work. I would say he's marginal on the mic. Some people would say he's gotten better, and I would agree, but I would say he's still marginal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, expect pure just dominance and displays of athleticism and strength. Think Brian Cage, but black.
Wow, so he's out here flipping and shit too, apparently, huh?
Oh no, I forgot about the flips, man. Think Brock Lesnar, but black. Yeah, Brock Lesnar's an appropriate.
It's a common term I hear. But yeah, man. So it'll be interesting. Maybe when Dean Ambrose comes back, he's the top heel, and I think they could solve a lot of their problems. But yeah, I am concerned on the Raw side, with the lack of great wrestling heels, with the possible matches that will go forward on pay-per-view this year. The good thing is that it's not all just Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. They're all going to be together, so we don't have to fill out an entire card with all these guys. So that could be somewhat of a saving grace here. But yeah, man, looking elsewhere, let's talk about the women on the Raw side. The faces, we have Ronda Rousey, we have Nia Jax, who's the champion, we have Ember Moon, Bayley, the newly face Natalya, and Dana Brooke. The heel side, we have Alexa Bliss, Mickie James. I wouldn't really put her on the heel side, but they have her listed there, Sasha Banks, because they still have heels jumping her because they haven't officially turned her. You have the Riot Squad with Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan, and the inactive Alicia Fox at the moment. Looking at their division, I don't know, man. I think it speaks to more that with the heels, they're putting the people in those heel positions that we don't necessarily respect as wrestlers, aside from maybe Ruby Riott.
Riott, yeah.
So and Mickie James. Aside from that, it's just like, I don't know, bro. And then the face is like, I'm shocked. Are you shocked at all that people have just been as cool with Nia Jax as they have been? Because I'm shocked. Like, I love it. And, Nia Jax, I've always kind of like dug like what she did, and she brings something different, but I thought people were going to turn on her, and they didn't.
I really am surprised that, this hasn't been like a Rocky Maivia situation, but I don't know. I guess people just like power. Like, that's the only rationale I can come up with on this one, man.
Yeah, man. And then, Ember Moon is the NXT call-up here, and she's... Yeah. I've made my concerns about Ember Moon known, like, if it's not in the ring, I don't know. But what do you think about Ember Moon?
Ember Moon? I've only ever been impressed by her, quite honestly. I even like, and I don't even like Shayna, but like her 2 matches with Shayna, I loved.
You know what the best thing about Ember Moon's call-up is?
What's that?
They got rid of Asuka from being on the brand, like, because she's like Asuka's personal jobber.
Yeah, imagine it. Yes, imagine if Asuka was still on Raw with her.
Oh man. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of up and down. We'll see how Rousey really fits in for the long term, but I do think she's eventually going to be the champion.
Yeah, she will. I do want to say real quick, I like the pairing of her with Natalya. I didn't know they'd ever trained together, but Natalya, like, she is not a good babyface or heel or just character in general when left to her own devices. But I think pairing her up with Ronda Rousey, who is over like fucking Rover, is going to do wonders for her as a character. And maybe putting her in tag matches with Natalya. I don't know exactly what the plans are, but if you do that, that will do Ronda a good service as well.
I'm just letting you know this Natalya slander is not about to fly in these streets on One Nation Radio. You would not talk down about Queen Jump Zone, who pretty much was responsible for inventing the phrase of jump zone. Shout out to James.
I'm sorry, I thought Carmella was responsible for the jump zone.
No, I believe it would. Well, Natty really took it to a next level. I think Carmella did do, like, the whole deal with the jumping Nikki Bella, but from there, Dana Brooke, whatever. But so it looks like Nia Jax might have a long, fruitful reign, until someone cashes in on her, maybe.
Maybe so, yeah.
I don't think you go back
hard to tell.
I don't think you go back to Alexa that fast. They're probably never going to put the belt on Mickey again. Sasha and Bayley's feud's kind of just simmering there, but they kind of like keep refusing to really, let them get it on. So I don't know, man. Yeah, they've got to figure it out.
It's weird. Can I speak to that real quick? It's weird, like, how they're doing it, because I think they might be saving it for like a summer pay-per-view or maybe even SummerSlam. But I'm hoping the heat is still there.
Right.
Or at least I'm hoping that the heat can get there, because I don't know that the heat's entirely there right now, to be truthful.
Yeah, and them not being put in that WrestleMania match, I think, kind of bummed people out. Like, and then also like how they actually got used, like, at the WrestleMania kickoff show, not WrestleMania.
Yes, no. If it was WrestleMania, let me just say to any of you truthers out there that are just, pre-show is still Mania. No, it's fucking not. Because if it was, and people want to mock me for this because people don't buy DVDs or whatever, but if it was, they would get royalties for the DVD sales.
Well,
they don't, because
the thing is,
the pre-show does.
Yeah, the thing is, this year they're putting the pre-show on the DVD.
Oh, they are. Well, shit. My entire argument just goes out the window.
That's okay. I got you, man. So that's why I stopped you to let so you didn't have to put that on the airwaves.
Well, damn it. I was gonna get on my soapbox. I was gonna get hype. I tell you.
Right, but
and then you just you cut me off.
But if you pull it up on the network, what's the first match you're gonna see? It's the triple threat match. It's not the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Threat. It's only been 2 weeks, but I'm like, wait, what opened WrestleMania?
Right. So, but yeah, man, let's talk about SmackDown now, and SmackDown.
Let's, dude.
Yes, this is SmackDown has inspired a wave of positivity. I feel like going through.
Fucking like. It's like the fucking indie fans like pipe dream. That's what's going on.
So I ran kind of an informal poll in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group. If you guys haven't joined it, feel free to send us an invite. We'll let you in. Great debates, great discussion. I could not find one single person that was willing to come in there and say, yeah, I'm down with Monday Night Raw. I'm more interested in seeing Monday Night Raw. I couldn't find one person. And it wasn't like one of the official polls, but it was kind of like, what show would you rather watch? And it was just SmackDown. I don't even need to watch Raw. I'll watch the YouTube clips of Strowman, SmackDown, SD Live. And it was just like, this is nuts. Like, I wonder how this happened, why this happened. But let's take a look at the roster. On the face side for the men, we have champion AJ Styles. We have Daniel Bryan, a main eventer that just fell out of the sky, essentially, for SmackDown. You got Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Sin Cara, Ty Dillinger, and R-Truth, who popped up randomly. On the heel side now, you've got Shinsuke, punch him in the dick, Nakamura. Samoa.
Oh, wait, is it Shinsuke Kakamura?
Shinsuke Kakamura, I've heard that, yes. And in a fucking sudden surprise, we saw Samoa Joe.
Yes.
I'm totally down with that because I think Joe's like firing on all cylinders once again, as he was doing last summer in the Lesnar feud. Andrade Cien Almas, which was their call up from NXT, and I wanted Almas to go to Raw to be that wrestler on the heel side, but it didn't happen. They stuck him over to SmackDown and just enhanced their embarrassment of riches, I feel like, at the top. And then also The Miz came over, who's definitely looks like he's going to be primed to go at Daniel Bryan eventually in the Feud of Our Dreams. Rusev is still kind of, in between that face and heel role. They don't know what they want to do with him. They keep booking him as a heel. I think they need to turn him face, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Also, Aiden English, Big Cass, Shelton Benjamin.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I know you're on a roll. I think I know why they need to turn Rusev face, and can I just make a guess?
Sure.
He's over. He's getting cheered.
Correct. He's getting cheered a lot. Also... and I Shelton Benjamin, and they have Samir Singh listed, but he's probably going to end up on Raw. So
you would think.
Looking at their baby faces, and this was actually a great point that I heard Dave Meltzer make. If you look at their everyday guys that are probably going to be on the road, right? I don't think Daniel Bryan's going to be doing every house show. Randy Orton definitely, I know he doesn't do all the house shows, and Jeff Hardy, I'm not sure if he does all the house shows. So if you look at it on the face side, it's really kind of thin, and a lot of those guys are older. So it's like AJ Styles is going to get leaned on a lot. So I think Rusev needs to turn to be able to give all those guys someone to wrestle. And someone even pin, if they don't want to use Rusev as a world champion, but they can put him in the upper mid-card as a face, have him be extremely popular, have him just ham it up all the way, and then take him on the road and have him go in there with Almas or Joe or Nakamura. Like, we've already seen what that does. And also Big Cass was around. I don't know if I mentioned him before, but...
I think you might have overlooked him, which... it's pretty easy to do, to be honest.
And speaking of Big Cass, it looks like he's kind of headed into a feud with Daniel Bryan, so they're not going for the money immediately first. Caleb, I just want to tell you that, when I was dreaming about Daniel Bryan being cleared for 3 years and hoping that he would wrestle in WWE, I just knew that, one day I would see Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, and then all my dreams would come true.
Oh, really? I had a similar dream. I had a similar dream that like Daniel Bryan is going to come back. Caleb, your favorite wrestler in a long time, he's going to retire. 2 years later, against all odds, he's going to come back. And his second feud back is going to be with the Big Bass. Thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you, Brian Armstrong. Thank you, everybody. I'm so excited to see this feud.
Okay, so, on a serious note, I'm not tripping over the Big Cass and Daniel Bryan thing because I felt like Daniel Bryan has gotten more out of less in the past.
That's fair.
And if they don't want to have him go into, obviously Nakamura is kind of reserved for Styles right now. You don't want to do Joe and Bryan yet. I feel like Almas, you may not want to beat him right off the bat. And The Miz, you might want to save that for maybe SummerSlam or at least a bigger show.
Yeah.
Big Cass is kind of the only guy that's left for him. So
because this is like a B-level pay-per-view, so I understand. I'm not, despite my exaggerations earlier, I'm not tripping over it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But under no circumstances should Big Cass be going over. So let's not get that misconstrued.
Oh,
so.
he's going over, brother.
I think what are your impressions over this grandiose roster, like of those top 8 to 10 guys? Can Road Dogg fuck this up?
Yes, he can, because you saw their roster last year. It was still pretty loaded, and then the man above him said, "Hey, you got to put the belt on this guy." And I feel like this guy this year, worst case scenario, could be the Big Bass. So, and that's what I'm going to call him from here on in, by the way, just so you know.
Big Bass, gotcha.
The Big Bass. He looks like a fish, dude.
Oh,
and I'm
man.
not. That's not a judgment, but yeah. Get ready for 6 months of the Big Bass as world champion.
I don't know. I feel like Samoa Joe's prime for the title sometime this year. We're kind of stepping on our material later, but we'll get to that. But looking at that face side, like how strong is this? From all these guys get cheered, but what do you think about this roster?
I mean, it's loaded. There are plenty of really good talents on there, I mean, Styles, Bryan, Orton, Hardy. The house shows might be a little bare. You might have to run a lot of tag matches. You might have to use your women a lot more than, I don't know, maybe they're comfortable with doing. But on TV, you've got 2 hours. So you've only got 2 hours. You don't have a third hour. So, I mean, there's no reason why you can't run like Styles, Bryan, Orton, Jeff, and I don't really give a shit if Ty Dillinger, Sin Cara, or R-Truth on TV during the week, but whatever. So, there's no reason why you can't have all those guys on TV during the week. Your heels, I mean, Shin, Joe, Cien, The Miz. I'm sorry, I'm rattling off all the names here. But, yeah, it's loaded. It's absolutely loaded. I'm very optimistic for the brand.
I'm really excited about SmackDown, and it's like they cleaned the fuck up. I feel like let's talk about the women. This is kind of my column come to life here. WWE using the people that either we don't respect as wrestlers in the heel roles, or very limited experience, or with no real track record of success. Like with the faces, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Naomi, Becky Lynch, and Nikki's kind of just floating in the wind. She's not officially on SmackDown or anything. But
yeah,
the people that they are going to be wrestling are Carmella, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Lana, and an injured Tamina.
Yeah, I don't expect any. I don't expect any 6-star classics in a face versus heel matchup from them.
Do you feel do you feel like any of those faces has to turn? And if you do, who would it be that you would turn?
Short answer is just no. No, if you turn one of them, you've only got 3 other female faces on the brand. So no, but if I had to turn someone, I would probably have to turn Naomi, I guess.
Why is that?
Because I feel like they're gonna hesitate to turn Charlotte again.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, at that point, your choices are Naomi, Asuka, or Becky Lynch. I don't think you can turn Becky. She's naturally one of the most over females on the roster. Asuka, I mean, maybe you could, but at the same time, I feel like people again are just kind of naturally inclined to cheer for her. So that's kind of Naomi's just, guilty by association.
Yeah, man.
Or a victim of circumstance, pardon me.
I think the person that, I would turn in, I actually, this kind of flies in the face of a lot of the things, but I think Becky. She hasn't been a heel since NXT. She's been over a really long time as a babyface, but she's never going to be looked at as number one over Asuka and Charlotte. So what you're saying is she's kind of in a similar position to Sami Zayn last year? Bingo. there's a spot wide open for her either at the top or at, or second from the top in the heel women's division. And in my opinion, she'd clearly be the number one heel if they did that. We've seen her be vicious. We've seen her turn the heel charm on in NXT. It's been a long time, but Becky might have to turn, I think. Because, I think Naomi's, her entrance, kind of makes her a babyface for life. As you mentioned, Asuka, people not really signing up to boo Asuka like that. And, I hate to pull this out. They've already turned Nakamura. So, in Charlotte, I think she's, they want to keep her as face as long as possible, not as to not mess with what they may have planned in the future with her and Ronda Rousey. Yep. But, I personally is Becky for me. But because those heels, Carmella's the champion. I don't know, bro. You gotta tell me about Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. I knew Peyton Royce, I seen a couple matches from her in NXT where it was cool, but it definitely wasn't at the level of the Four Horsewomen or Ember Moon or anything like that. And Billie Kay is a train wreck in the ring. Well, I won't go that far. She's okay. Sonya and Mandy clearly just inexperienced, I feel like.
Yeah.
And Lana, you're not really looking for wrestling out of Lana, so they've got to fix that with their women. But, of course, SmackDown now has a fucking great tag team division.
And they're only
all-time level.
And they're only 6 tag teams deep.
Yeah. So, on the face side, we've got the Usos, we have the New Day, we have Gallows and Anderson. And then the heels, we have the Bludgeon Brothers, who are the champions, Sanity, and then Sheamus and Cesaro, and on the injured reserve, actually, Epico and Primo, who will never, ever get fired.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Do they have, does their dad have, nudes on Vince or something? What's the deal there?
I think the deal with it is, Carlos Colon, has always kind of been linked in with the WWF for, years and years, and probably got, his kids have jobs for life, essentially, so it's... good old-fashioned nepotism, but
so I can't be mad at it.
Yeah, it is what it is, and those dudes, they don't suck or anything. They just, they don't get used. But this tag team division. Now, when I look at the face side, I look at the New Day. Are we gonna go through another calendar year again with them, and not try to see what we have with any of them? Elsewhere,
as a singles guy, you've got Jesus Christ, we just went over it. They've got 8 singles faces right now. You can't tell me you can't run Big E as a face. You can't run Woods as a face. You can't run Kofi as a face. God forbid.
I really think they need to look there. I really think they need to do it.
We've only got look, there are only 2 tag belts. There aren't 3 of them.
Right. There's only 2. There's only 2 tag belts, and there's also 6 tag teams or 5 other tag teams. Let those guys run it over that shit, and they're gonna need to fill out single stuff.
Yeah, it's not like they run multiple tag team feuds on SmackDown.
Right.
At the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers are fighting for a while, it's going to be a while before Gallows and Anderson get in the mix. Or Sanity gets in the mix, who's, just coming up from NXT. They're going to need to be beating somebody. So, I think they're going to beat on Gallows and Anderson. I think eventually they'll probably beat on the New Day. They might be marketed as heels, don't know exactly what they're doing. They don't have Nikki Cross with them, so not sure which way they're going with it. And also the Bar, they're not about to bring Sheamus and Cesaro in just to be bums. It's you can do a lot with all these tag team guys and also funnel a couple of them into the singles ranks. I feel not only in the New Day, but Sanity as well, or Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yep.
When you're looking at this, I don't know, man, are the Bludgeon Brothers just going to dominate this shit forever at this rate?
Jesus Christ, I hope not, because that would get pretty goddamn boring.
Oh, man. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Overall, I think SmackDown is in such, a better position than it has been recently. it has just the amount of like excitement. It has like a returning legend in his prime in Daniel Bryan. It has AJ Styles, who's a great champion. It has Nakamura, who has a fresh new like character and kind of spin on things. It has Samoa Joe, who may be doing the best work of his WWE career. You have the excitement in Andrade Cien Almas that I don't know if you necessarily have with Drew McIntyre for a lot of folks. You have stability like with a veteran like Randy Orton, who can wrestle any of these guys, and you know the match is going to be what it is.
He can put on a match of the night any night that he cares to. Right.
Like say if you put Almas in there with him, like those guys will probably tear the house down. Jeff Hardy, like he has a cult following still, even being a 40-year-old. Like I think these guys have set up SmackDown to thrive. And then Big Cass, he's in a position to where there's no one else like him on this brand. There's no super tall guy that's walking around, and like Joe's a monster, but he's a different kind of monster. Almost like he's unique to this brand. Like whereas Raw, they have Strowman, they have Corbin, they have like a bunch of like tall big guys walking around like Lashley and Reigns and Lesnar. It's like Kane. It's like the land of the giants. Big Show. Like Cass is the only one there, so he's gonna get a chance to stand out. I feel like and really like grab control of his future for the first time, because he was fucking linked with Enzo last time, and that's not gonna necessarily get you over or anything.
No.
So Caleb, like what show would you rather watch out of these two? I feel like the answer is like fairly easy.
I mean, it would be SmackDown. Obviously, I'm still gonna watch Raw because my boy Sammy, but no, SmackDown, easy.
Yeah, man. Same for me. I'd rather watch SmackDown. Like 9 times out of 10, definitely SmackDown. Raw could do a couple things to excite me, as I mentioned, like Drew McIntyre kind of ascending out of the tag team division and into singles. Maybe Elias getting better in the ring. I would have, if there was anything about the shakeup, and I didn't have this written down, if there was anything you could change, Caleb, what would it have been? Because I know what I would have changed.
It would have, as far as work rate goes, it would have left your heels pretty bare. But I probably honestly would have kept Sammy on SmackDown or wrote him back in. But that's really about all I think I would have changed. Maybe I might have also sent the Revival over to SmackDown.
Yeah.
But that's really about all that I can think of off the top of my head.
So I would have sent Elias to SmackDown and Andrade Cien Almas to Raw, because each of them will give the brand something that the other one doesn't. Elias and also they'll benefit from it. So Raw will benefit because they're adding another top tier heel worker, and Andrade Cien Almas will get to wrestle against all those Raw baby faces they have, essentially. And in Elias's case, he will be able to get to go over there and be a heel and then face all those great baby faces they have and learn a little bit more on the wrestling side. And maybe, on the Raw side with Almas and Zelina, maybe they kind of take the next step, like with their character and their presentation and everything like that. So that's one change I would have made. Looking elsewhere, I don't know, man. Raw's tag teams are a little hurt. I could have went for the Usos on Mondays. I could have went for I could have went for Becky, moving over for, trade Becky for either Bayley or Sasha or someone like that. But
that's another one I might have, and this might get some flack, but I would have split up Bayley and Sasha.
Yeah, if they're not gonna do it, like, then take it away from us. Like, clearly they could have done it.
Yeah,
like they've been on the same brand since September of
2016.
Right.
Yeah, a year and a half.
So, I mean, cool. Like, if we're going to wait for it, fine, but I wouldn't have had a problem if they would have split it up, now that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think that would be all what I would do. Like, what do you think could bring SmackDown down, possibly?
Again, it's just the only problem they could have is resource allocation. Like if there becomes a random insistence on like, okay, Big Cass has got to be the top heel, the top focus of this show, that could be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
because, and that's not to say like, oh, he's bad, but he's not, like, in my opinion, he's not top heel right now.
Yeah, he's no better than 5th, like, in my estimation. Like, you know, if you remove Rusev in the equation, like, he doesn't have any more juice than any of those other guys like right now.
It's like, if you want to run him up the ladder, you know, slowly but surely, go ahead, that's fine, but just, that's the only thing I could see bringing them down. Or, you know, of course, the potential injuries, which that's always a factor in wrestling. Right.
And I don't even know if we have to worry about Randy Orton turning heel, because they're so hurt on the face side, I think. Like, they've only got 4 real main event heels. So I think one of the New Day members needs to step up as the 5th guy.
Give me that Big E singles run. That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the only thing, you know, AJ Styles could break down. Nakamura, what if he really is washed and it doesn't matter if he's a face or heel? That could go wrong. Samoa Joe has had a history of injuries. What if Almas just doesn't catch, and, you know, Miz just flops at the top level? I don't see Miz flopping or anything. If Miz flops, all hope is lost. Yeah, because
just in general,
like, he had somebody else wearing his world title on SmackDown last year, so I think he's going to want to get that title, and, you know, it could end up in Daniel Bryan versus The Miz for the world belt. Like, I don't know if that necessarily even needs it, but because those dudes, like, they're on some real Fight Forever stuff. Like, you know, that shit goes back to 2010. So, yeah, but I'm trying to think. Shelton Benjamin, he's kind of just around. I definitely think Becky needs to turn, though. The heel women are just going to be, it's going to be a struggle on SmackDown, personally. What I think, but trying to think. What do you think could bring Raw down in this case? You know, because I think Raw is, like, in a position where, looking at it, it's like they have nowhere to go but up at this point. But what do you think could just ruin it, like, where they don't even get out of first gear?
Shit, man, I would really have to think in that regard. I'm gonna peek at this roster again real quick. I would say if you go that route of if you do an extended Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal or Baron Corbin feud of, like, a couple of months, that could really, like, bring my interest down. For obvious reasons. But man, I or if they keep playing this weird game of, like, maybe we're going to turn Sasha heel, maybe we won't, like, that's also a problem. Or if Nia Jax overstays her welcome as women's champion, which I'd say is possible.
See, I think the thing that could get them off track is if they continue to never figure anything out for Strowman to really, like, capitalize on all that momentum that he has right now.
I mean, it's crazy you say that. Strowman didn't even come to mind.
Right. That's how much they've kind of, like, I don't want to say, like, de-emphasized him, but they've kind of like just moved him away from where he was at the Royal Rumble. And I knew this would happen. Like, I felt like he was going to be the next Dean Ambrose, because the same thing happened in 2016 when Dean Ambrose was hotter than the fucking sun. And the first 2 months of the year, they do this weird shit and just beat him at WrestleMania like he's a bum. And then he kind of languishes in the feud with Jericho. He
gets cooled off in his feud with Jericho, and he only gets the title because Roman Reigns got suspended.
And by that time, like, they kind of missed the wave, and then they tried to ride it, and it never quite clicked, and it was the rise of AJ Styles, and then people kind of wanted to turn on Dean at the end, like, yo, get that belt the fuck off him.
Crazy. I can't believe that, too. Like, that's crazy. People wanted to talk shit on Ambrose by the end of 2016. To me, he was still, like, second best performer in WWE that year.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to striking when the iron's hot with guys, and they didn't do that with Ambrose, and I'm afraid that they're walking into that trap again with Strowman. Lashley, he's a complete mystery to me. As I mentioned, I don't know a ton about the guy, and if he's wrestling like all these other guys that are, these big brooding, plotting guys, like, I don't know about you, but I want to see him and Sami Zayn in there together. I want to see him and Kevin Owens together. Like, that's what I want to see for him, like, because, just looking at him, he's a big muscle motherfucker, right? So I'm going to assume he wrestles a certain way. I could be surprised, I could be wrong, but I think, he needs to not be in there with Elias. He needs to not be in there with Jinder. He needs to not be in there with Corbin. He needs to go in there with the workers. So we can get the best kind of view of him possible first before we shove him with these other guys. Balor and Rollins, like, you got to figure out something for Balor. He won the Universal title. He's never sniffed it since.
How did I not mention him? He should have switched to SmackDown too. Duh.
Yeah. I was definitely expecting Finn to go.
Wow. Yeah.
I was definitely expecting Finn to go, and I think he's a prime candidate to turn. A lot of, question marks with Balor, like, as far as, like, how much do they really believe in him? They got all the way to WrestleMania, and they didn't, put the paint on him. They've never let him reach that super top level that they had that first, like, month. So, did they quit on him? I don't know. Do you think they quit on him?
I don't know if they've entirely quit on him. I think he honestly might be in, and forgive me for making the comparison, like a Chris Benoit like type of spot where, like, yeah, we went to you once, and like maybe if we need you later, we'll get you towards that spot, but like you're not our first choice.
Right. So yeah, moving forward, man, like what feuds are you looking forward to that you can just look at on paper? If you want to pull the list up again while I stall for you for a couple of seconds.
Yes, please keep stalling.
Yes. Like if you're just like seeing these on paper, like what are some of the matches you look forward to, you hope happening over this cycle?
Sammy and Finn. Probably I would say, again, Lashley and Strowman. Yep. I know that's, face and face, but still.
It happens.
Yep. Man, Bobby Roode and Seth Rollins, because, again, I feel like a turn for Bobby Roode is on the way. Not really much on the tag side that I'm like, oh, I'd love to see that. Women-wise, I mean, if they ever run Bayley and Sasha, yeah, sign me up. That's really all I got on Raw, but on SmackDown, like, I mean, it's a never-ending list on SmackDown. Bryan against basically any heel you've got on there.
You got it.
AJ against basically any heel you got on there, or whatever. The Club against the Bludgeon Bros, I think, could actually be pretty good. The Bar against any of those face teams. Run back Charlotte and Asuka for sure. Asuka and Becky, give me that. I don't think we've ever seen that.
I don't think they've ever been in the same place at the same time.
Yep, Asuka and Becky for sure. That's really all I can come up with off the top of my head. Oh, Dean and Seth whenever Dean comes back.
Yeah, just come out and just put his head through a fucking wall, like.
Yeah. Oh, even better. Put his head through a cinder block.
Yes, return that favor.
Yes,
that he did for you. He tried to murder this man.
Yes, he tried
James
to murder
you
so you could go film 12 Rounds Part 3.
Oh man, yeah, man. I want to see Daniel Bryan and Andrade Cien Almas. I want to see Randy Orton and Samoa Joe. I want to see Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe. On the Raw side, I want to see Lashley and Sami Zayn. I want to see Reigns and Sami Zayn. I want to see Sami Zayn is in the position to wrestle all those dudes on Raw, essentially.
Just do all this, Sammy.
Yeah, just run through and just lose to them all like a geek, like. Lesnar and Lashley. That seems to be what everyone wants. So why not see it? Why not see it?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Had some technical difficulties, but I definitely want to see Andrade Cien Almas and Jeff Hardy for some reason. I think they would burn the building down. So, who do you think is going to touch the world title that hasn't so far? And the last question I kind of have prepared.
You mentioned him earlier. And again, another one I probably got to go with, Samoa Joe. I've got this really weird sneaking suspicion about Big Cass as well on the Raw side.
You can't discount it.
On the SmackDown side.
You can't discount it.
And then on the Raw side, I feel like a lot of it's going to be the Roman show. We might get a Braun run in the fall. Maybe.
Yeah. I think Roman Reigns is gonna hold on to that motherfucker with a fucking death grip. Personally, I could see maybe Kevin Owens going up the mountain again. they really want to push Baron Corbin for some odd reason. But I'll go far left field and say Mojo finds a way in there.
Jesus Christ. Imagine Mojo Rawley, world champion.
I don't know how it would go, but like maybe a money in the bank briefcase, something.
Someone put a nanny cam in Chad's house if he watches that live.
Oh man, yeah. Like I'm not saying like I want this to happen or anything, but I think you could.
But I get you, yeah.
But yeah, as far as like SmackDown goes, I think Samoa Joe is like essentially like guaranteed to be WWE champion at some point this year. I think he's the guy that ends up taking it off AJ. I don't know if Nakamura necessarily even wins it. So we will see how that whole thing goes, because Styles has had that belt for a while. Roman will have just won it, I want to say. Or if Lesnar holds this shit and keeps going, they're just going to cause a bunch of confusion from there. But yeah, I don't think you can discount Big Cass. And fuck, put it on Big E. Who cares? Like, maybe Daniel Bryan. I won't start beating that drum yet, but it's coming. I'm going to let y'all know it's coming.
I'm telling you. Yeah, you give us, man, if you don't have that belt in a year and a half, or at least by a year and a half, me and Rich, we're going to lead a fucking march on Titan Towers. It's going to happen.
Yes. I'm going to Stamford, Connecticut. I'm going to say, where's Vince's office? They're going to stop me, and I'm going to continue to walk throughout the office. I'm going to knock stuff down, flip it over, and say I refuse to leave until I'm led into the creative meeting and say,
I will let them know. I will let them know. Not only this riot, it's going to kick ass. It's going to fuck too. Yes. I tell you.
we managed to get 55 minutes into the show without a fucks reference. So that's kind of a proud moment, in the history of One Nation Radio. But man.
Talk to me in the past 2 weeks. It's amazing that it went this long.
Yes. But yeah, man, Caleb is dropping a show soon that is definitely destined to fuck. Tell us a little bit more, like, as I mentioned, Caleb, about the Wrestling Wash. Just one more time for everybody before we get up out of here.
All right. Well, for you jabronis with short attention spans, again, there's not a lot of Impact or Ring of Honor coverage on Social Suplex or on the podcast network. That's what I'm here for. That's the service I am going to provide for you folks. I'm doing it free of charge as well, so really you should be thanking me. Send all your compliments, thank yous, or if you fucking hate me, send your hate tweets to at Social Suplex without the vowels. Again, SCL/SPLX for those of you that don't know what vowels are. _ Cal B. That's my name without the E in there. And also follow the show as well, Wrestling Wash SS. No spaces, none of that.
Yeah, man. I was going to ask you about them underscores and all that. That's just causing confusion.
Well, I mean, when you have to use them, you have to use them. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, man. So I just want to thank everybody for listening to the whole network. As I mentioned, make sure you guys check out the other shows on the network, Keeping It Strong Style, your New Japan podcast, the Ricky and Clive show all the way over in Scotland, the Outsider's Edge with Rance and Carl, and of course, One Nation Radio here with me, Rich. Until James comes back, I will continue to hold it down. You will hear guests like Caleb. You will get me by myself at times, but we definitely appreciate you guys supporting the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Make sure you go into your ratings. Give us a 5. Give us a 6 if you can somehow figure it out. Take screenshots. Send them to us. I believe Ricky and Clive is running a T-shirt contest still, so you do not want to miss that. If you want a T-shirt, go ahead and send a rating and tweet those guys and send it to them. You can send it to me, and I'll get it over to them, however you want to do it.
Yeah, it's not like we don't deliver either. I mean, we did one back in, I want to say, February, and that's how Kyle Moore's, longtime listener, it was also on the Ricky and Clive show. That's how he won his Happy Rusev Day shirt.
Yeah, man. So
it was through the Keeping It Strong style. So, yeah.
So eventually, I'll come up with something for this show, but I'm broke, so.
Yeah, I got a car note too, so don't expect me to be putting contests out there for you.
Yeah, I might have to run something where I let you come on the show or something, but thank you guys for listening. I'm sure I will be back Sunday with more talk about the Greatest Royal Rumble and Backlash and looking at the rest of like Raw and SmackDown this week from a show perspective on on Sunday live in the Wrestling Square Circle Facebook group. Make sure you add yourself if you have not. Appreciate the downloads, the support. We are about this bitch.
Yep. Peace.
Thank you for listening to One Nation Radio. We'll see you next time.